for decades is, just to say something most of you know, I feel sort of like some of the biblical prophets who predicted terrible things and then wept when they came about. David Brog is the founder of this new group, Emergency Committee for America, and I was telling him that when he said, and I didn't interrupt him, it was painful not to interrupt him. Well, I don't know a lot about a lot, but I really do know how to organize. He does really know how to organize, and he does know a lot about a lot. His books are seminal works, for example. He has given a PragerU video. He is, I am sorry to say, a graduate of Princeton. Is that correct?
Correct, sir.
Hold on. It's tough for me to think of how much money you gave Princeton University.
It gets worse.
Why? Go on.
I was in Barack Obama's class at Harvard Law.
Oh my God! It's a good thing I didn't know it.
We wasted a lot of money. But Dennis, and this is just the truth. I had a lifeline in college that helped me and changed me, and probably set me on a different trajectory in life. I got a hold of a book written by one Dennis Prager. And years before I met you, you were this light in the darkness that really enabled me to see there was a different way of viewing the world and kept me from falling in line with where my schools would otherwise have led me. So I would be remiss if I did not say what an influence you've been on my life since then to the present day.
I actually have the chills. I really do. That's how much it means to me. To know that I have affected you is a big deal.
The difference you've made in my life, and in what I have to imagine are tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of lives is deep and significant. And I don't think you need encouragement, but be encouraged.
Well, no, it is good to know. Of course, otherwise, one is speaking to oneself. But that's great. So I'm curious, in light of that, being at Princeton and Harvard, did you feel lonely?
I did not, because I had two good things going for me, in Princeton at least, which is Dennis Prager's writings. And those writings were introduced to me by a mutual friend of ours named Yoram Hazony. And Yoram, who's been on your show and done PragerU videos and has continued to be an influence in my life as well, was a good friend. And so I had this small circle that kept me sane. When I went to law school, it got harder. And I do remember sort of walking by demonstrations demanding not only diversity, God willing, had they only demanded diversity of thought, I would have participated in the demonstrations. They were demanding, of course, a very rigid list of physical characteristics they wanted to see in the faculty. And a very young man that everyone said I needed to watch out for. He was going to be a senator one day. Of course, they underestimated him. But a young man named Barack Obama was one of the speakers there. And I remember viscerally objecting to what I was seeing. I had a very different view of what it is Harvard Law students should be seeking in the world and demanding in the world. And in moments like that, I did feel quite alone. But I went back to my
So
friends,
you remember being at Harvard Law and watching Barack Obama speak at a demonstration?
Oh, yeah.
Do you remember what he said?
It was more or less about the need for rigid physical characteristics to be met at the Harvard Law faculty. They had a list of demands. They wanted a woman of color tenured faculty. They wanted, I think, an Hispanic tenured faculty. They wanted an openly gay tenured faculty, and I believe a disabled tenured faculty, because, of course, Dennis, only someone who is themselves disabled can understand the legal needs of the disabled. And I looked at this, and to me, this rigid focus on physical characteristics went against everything I believed in. I thought, naively, that this was confined to the rarefied, insane air of the Ivy League. Of course, everything we saw on display there has now spilled over not only into our streets, but into our politics. It's taking over one of our two political parties. And this is the great disappointment of Joe Biden. I mean, I worked for years in the Senate. I listened to more hours of Joe Biden talking on than anyone should have to in their lives. But this is a different Joe Biden in many ways. But most importantly, he is now captive of the extreme ideology that at one time could only captivate the Quad at Harvard. Now it's taken control of our town squares and centers across the country.
How does one join the Emergency Committee for America?
They go to our website, EC4 America. That's E as in emergency, C as in committee, the number 4 America, ec4america.org. And Dennis, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention that all of us involved in the emergency committee have very demanding and responsible day jobs. I have a very demanding and increasingly tough day job in the realm of defending Israel, which this week has been tougher than usual. We are all doing this as a labor of love for our country. Not only do we not take a dime out of it, but frankly, I'm funding this out of money I should be putting into my son and daughter's college funds. But my wife and I had a long talk, and we decided that we needed to try this first. One day, hopefully, the kids will forgive me. You can't go to college, but maybe we did some good. But we need help because people are responding extremely well. The conversion rate, how much we have to pay for a new email, or how much we have to pay to get people to join us on social media, is lower than anything I've seen in my career. I mean, people want this opportunity.
All right, let me remind then, EC4, the number 4, the digit 4, ec4america.org. I want to ask David Brog, who's an expert on the Middle East, books on it. They're great books, by the way, about what is happening right now.